Hello and thank you for joining this Wellington 18-minute short. I'm Baz Kinder, the Commercial Director at Wellington, and I've been involved in Microsoft PPM and PMOs generally now for just over 10 years, and today I'm presenting an overview of the Wellingtone Accelerator Plus Power App, which extends Microsoft Project for the web, making it a PMO-ready solution that can help you manage project portfolios, resources, finances, and much more beyond that, and this all happens within your very own Microsoft 365 tenant. Before I dive into the live demo, I will provide a very short intro to Wellington and some background on the latest version of Microsoft Project before going on to discuss and demonstrating the Project for the Web solution alongside the Accelerator Plus from Wellington. So, we are Wellington, and our promise to you is that by taking up our services, your project and portfolio management capability will be improved, and that is a money-back guarantee. And having been around since 2001, we've managed to collect a few accreditations over the last 20 or so years, as you can see from the collection of badges being displayed. We are headquartered in Windsor with offices in Ireland and Spain as well, but we do tend to work globally to support our customers no matter where they are. And we offer a wide variety of services that span consultancy, technology and training, the focus again being on helping our customers to improve their PPM capability. You can read more at wellington.co.uk, so please do follow our link and have a look through the website. And just before I move on to discussing Microsoft Project, here's a small selection of our customers, quite a diverse mix of organisations, but the one thing that they all have in common is that they all have PMOs and they manage projects. There's a number of case studies available on our website, so again, follow that link and take a look. So let's talk about Microsoft Project, and before I get into it, if you're new to this topic, then do check out the recent Project for the Web Beginner's Guide video, which is available on our YouTube channel. But in brief, Project for the Web, it was launched back in 2019, and it essentially replaces Microsoft Project Online, which is the official enterprise extension to Microsoft Project Professional. But through the newer solution, you do get access to the latest features and innovations. You also get access to a much slicker user interface that's quite a departure from the Microsoft Project desktop app that you might be familiar with, and I tend to describe it as the love child of Microsoft Project Professional and Microsoft Planner. All in all, it looks familiar to most users, and as a result, they find it pretty easy to use. And lastly, Project for the Web also offers integration with Microsoft 365 groups, which makes it so much easier to collaborate with other team members on your projects. And of course, Project for the Web, it's designed to be extended through the Microsoft Power Platform, which is what I'm going to talk about now. So when you look at Project for the Web in isolation, it's essentially a scheduling solution, a planning tool, which if you're a PMO won't really be enough because you need to capture more detail. You need to see business cases, descriptions, financials, risks, issues, and much more beyond that as well. But thankfully, as I said before, Project for the Web, it's designed to be extended, and the various components really come together a bit like a Lego set to form a complete end-to-end PPM solution, one that sits inside of Microsoft 365. And that's essentially what the Accelerator Plus is. It's a PMO-ready, enterprise-ready PPM solution that's built using Microsoft Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power BI. Okay, so let's talk about the Wellingtone Accelerator Plus, and the very first point that I'm going to make is that it's a solution that's deployed in your Microsoft 365 tenant, and it only requires native Microsoft licensing. So there's no need to go out and procure additional third-party licensing agreements or subscriptions. It's all handled through the Microsoft 365 Administration Center within your tenant, just as you would do really for any other Microsoft licensing. Now, I'm not about to start going through an exhaustive list of all of the features that we provide, but in brief, through the Accelerator Plus, you do get access to a centralized pipeline to capture ideas and requests, and within this, you can also evaluate and prioritize the initiatives to ensure that you're focused on the right things. You also get access to a live real-time view of the portfolio, and you've got the ability to group and filter as required. I mentioned earlier that we do also use Power Automate, which allows us to go in and define a variety of workflows to support your project life cycles and to implement governance frameworks as needed. Besides that, we also provide a full complement of RAID logs and other management artifacts such as lessons learned and benefits trackers. We also offer an optional advanced resource management solution, which isn't something that I'm covering today, but we do have an upcoming webinar on that specific topic. So do go and take a look at the events page on the Wellingtone website. And within the Accelerator Plus, there's also the ability to manage project financials and to track cross-project dependencies as well. And of course much more, but again today I'm only providing a taster and a light demo, before which let me recap some of the key benefits of adopting the Wellingtone Accelerator Plus. So firstly, it extends the standard project for the web solution from simply being a scheduling tool into a fully fledged PPM solution. One that can support PMOs and other project teams to get much better visibility and control over their portfolios. And the Accelerator Plus is really a starting point, and for some organizations it might provide them with everything they need out of the box on day one, but it can be customized and it can be extended to suit your ways of working. And this is something that you could do over time, so start simple, but the solution can keep growing as your PPM capability does mature. We also deploy Project for the Web and the Accelerator Plus in your Microsoft 365 tenant, which is something that typically does really reassure IT teams, especially when they get around to completing due diligence from a security perspective. And lastly, to reiterate, the Accelerator Plus works with native Microsoft licensing, so there's no need to go outside of your standard Microsoft agreement to procure licensing, which again really does simplify things and help reassure people as well that there aren't any hidden costs. And in terms of licensing, users wanting to use the full capability of Project for the Web and the Accelerator Plus would require the relevant Microsoft project plan alongside the appropriate Power Apps license, and of course for reporting purposes they would also need a Power BI plan. If you'd like to get a deeper insight on the topic of licensing, either get in touch or, again, as I said before, check out the recent Microsoft Project for the Web Beginner's Guide video, which is available on our YouTube channel. But for now, it's time to move on to the demo. So I'll peel back the curtains, as you can see there. I love that transition, I have to say. But before I do, a very quick reminder that this will be a taster and not an exhaustive overview of the Accelerator Plus. So if you do want a deep dive, you'll need to get in touch. So here we are now in the Microsoft 365 homepage. You'll notice along the top that I've already got a series of tabs opened and I'm good to go. And typically, I would start by presenting Project for the Web by itself as a standalone scheduling solution. I'm not going to do that today, and if you would like to see that aspect of the tool, then what you need to do is go and check out the Project for the Web Beginner's Guide video that is available on our YouTube channel. Instead, where I'm going to focus today is on the Accelerator Plus aspect of the solution, and this is it. This is the Power App that we've created as a starting point to help PMOs to get going with Project for the Web. And the very first thing that you're going to see is this dashboard on the home page, which consists really of Power Apps charts. These are fully interactive, so if I wanted to drill down and get deeper insights across any attribute, I can do that really easily. But parking that to one side, let's have a quick look at the menu on the left hand side, and you'll notice that there's a wide range of options that we provide as standard. There's a pipeline view, which is of course where you can capture ideas and requests. We can also capture business case information in there and apply scoring to the initiatives to determine which ones will go on to become projects. Talking of which, there is a detailed projects view. There's also a program overarching view that we can access. We of course have deeper insights in terms of reporting via Power BI, and that's something that I will be demonstrating shortly. I mentioned earlier at the beginning that we have a full complement of RAID logs, and you can see the entire list of RAID log items being presented there alongside some of the other management artifacts. So let's go into the pipeline view as a starter for 10, and this again I'm going to demonstrate really in brief. We can of course go in, submit brand new ideas, but what I'm going to do for the sake of time is drill down into an item that's already been populated. So here you can see we've captured things like the name, the request state, the type of project that it's actually going to become, and we've also captured the portfolio alignment there as well. We've captured details around the program that it would sit within, the details of the owner, and here you'll notice that we can also apply a relevant project template. We've only got some dummy template names in place, but what this essentially means is that once the initiative's approved, it becomes a project, the right schedule is going to be in place, the right level of governance will also be applied, and will ensure that the appropriate forms are going to be available for the end party or the project manager certainly to complete as required. Below that, you can see we've captured some narrative around the business case. We've also got some scoring metrics in place to determine the prioritization score, the attractiveness score, and the achievability score around that project. This again is an illustration of what we can provide. If of course you want to score your initiatives in a different way, that's not a problem. We can apply the appropriate template in place to accommodate that. Closing out of this, I'm going to jump straight into the project view now. And here you're going to see a unfiltered view really of all of the active projects. I can go in and change that to an editable grid, and by doing so I can now apply certain levels of grouping. So I might want to group by project type, I might want to group by stage, but either way you can see that there's lots of options available. But for now what I'm going to do is take the grouping off so that it's easier for me to find my demo project, which is this one here. We're going to dive into the COO Health Assessment Tool initiative. So let's go in and edit that item. In fact, let me also minimize the menu on the left-hand side, but this is now the deep dive view of the project. And to put this all into perspective, if you were using Project for the Web in isolation by itself as a scheduling tool, then all you would really see is the grid and the project view that's loading up now. So there's a list of all of my tasks. Of course, in the grid view, I can choose to view that through a different lens, which is the board. I could also view that in a Gantt chart layout. Let me scroll along. There's my project. And this, of course, is fully interactive. So if I go down and find a task that's not been updated, you'll notice that I can move things around. I can extend it. I can shorten it down. I can also go in and create other dependencies as well. So that's essentially what you would get out of the box with Project for the Web, but of course around it we've added this entire wrapper. So starting at the top, you'll notice that we have this governance workflow. So we can absolutely provide the mechanism for you to ensure that people are following a consistent approach and completing the appropriate stage gates as and when required, and working of course in a consistent way. These stage gates are interactive and they're fully customizable. So whatever stage gates you want to have dropped in, not a problem, we can do that. And we can also implement whatever checklist items you want people to interact with and complete as they progress through. Besides this, we can also define who the approvers are going to be and how approvals work generally. You might want certain project sizes or certain project templates to say that because it's a relatively small project, we don't really need manual intervention for the approval. We'll trust the individuals that are working on it. Whereas for larger initiatives, you might want a committee to be approving workflows. So again, there's lots of options around that. But beneath that, we also then have a series of tabs that help us to navigate around. So we've got the summary page, which I'll look at in a moment. We will, of course, also have access to the business case, which is essentially what we saw in the pipeline view previously. We have financials, a document view, resource views, again, many views, and I will demonstrate some of these today. Some of the others I will be demonstrating in separate sessions. In particular, the resource management component I'll be demonstrating in a future webinar alongside financials. But on the summary page, you'll notice that we have a general form. So this, of course, can be tweaked. We can define the custom fields that you want to have implemented and be available in place for people to respond against. And we can also determine how people interact. So there might be certain fields where you want people to go in and type in free text information, whereas for other fields, you want people to set from predefined values. And this is quite important, really, where you want to use this information for reporting and consistency is very important. You don't want people to be misspelling customer or words like support, which would completely skew all of your reporting. We also see some outputs here from the schedule. So we can't edit any of this information, but it is reporting back to us what is happening within the schedule. We also have a status report section that's being fed really from the status report option in the top menu. Document management is something that's very important to many organizations, of course. Projects always do rely on various documents, and through the Microsoft 365 Groups integration, we do have access to the SharePoint library that's linked to that group, and that's something that we can surface within the Accelerator Plus itself. We also do provide a wide variety of logs, as I touched upon earlier. Here's an example of a risk log. So there we have a risk matrix, which really makes it visible in terms of how many risks we've got of which type. And what I'll do now is jump into one of the existing risks that's already pre-populated. So this is the 5G legal issues risk that's been identified. And here we've got the general information form. And as I said before, this can be customized. So if you want to change some of the custom fields, you want to change some of the categorizations maybe, or the risk type field, again, all of this can be done. Importantly, something we can also do is actually enable you to convert a risk into an issue. So that's already been done here, and this is the linked issue. And that's why actually I'm not able to edit any of the fields on this particular form, because it's now become an issue, and I would have to go to the linked issue in order to edit any of the information. But let's close out of this now. So save and close. I'll open up the menu again on the left hand side, and I'm going to show you an aggregated view of all of the lessons learned. And as I mentioned before, many of the logs, many of the lists pretty much look the same. So this is really to illustrate the point of how this works. So here we have a list of all lessons learned so far. Of course, we can go in and apply different groupings as well. But what I'll do is show you a little party trick, and this is to visualize the view. And when I do this, Power BI starts to generate the report based upon the pre-selected data that of course existed within that particular list. So that report's now been generated, and here it is. So this is Power BI, and it's pretty simple out of the box, but I can extend it. So let's bring in the category of a lesson learned. And now we can see that the highest category of lessons learned revolved around suppliers. So again, very insightful information, but I'm going to close out of this, and I'm going to jump into the reporting suite now that we also provide as part of the Accelerator Plus solution. So here's the front page. I'm not going to go through every single report that we have available, but this will certainly give you an indication of the look and feel of many of them. So let's go into the portfolio dashboard initially. Here is the report. I can go in and of course extend this, so I can apply different filters should I want to do so. And something that you might not be aware of is that every single chart that you see within the report also acts as an interactive filter. So let's imagine that we want to look at all the projects that are in the planning phase. Let's click on that particular chart element there, and we now see the projects that are in planning. Going back to the front page, let's show you one of a report. Let's have a look at the task overview report. So again, a very nice overview there of all tasks across the entire portfolio, and something that we might be interested in might be the overdue tasks. And here we now see a view of all of the overdue tasks, and there's quite a few, there's 134. So there is some attention that needs to be paid to this. But hopefully guys, that gives you a bit of an overview of what the Accelerator Plus is. I do have a future webinar, or a number of webinars coming up, which do provide a deeper dive into some of the add-on components that link into the Accelerator Plus. And they again revolve around financials and the resource views that we can also provide. But for now, let's go back to the presentation and wrap this up. So let's talk about next steps. And one of the common requests that I get is for a deep dive demo of the project for the web solution and the Accelerator Plus. So you can get in touch using the details that are coming up, and I'd be more than happy to set that up. Beyond that, if you've already decided that Project for the Web and the Accelerator Plus look like a good fit for your situation, and you'd like to understand what an implementation might look like, how much effort is required, what would the cost be, we can provide you with a envisioning workshop that typically takes around half a day. So again, get in touch, and that's something we can discuss in greater detail. And for anything else, all you need to do is drop me an email. So my email address is baz.kinder@wellington.co.uk. You can also find me on LinkedIn. Just do a search for my name, or scan that QR code on your mobile phone, and I'll take you straight to my profile. And whilst you are there, do also give Wellington a follow. And of course, this video alongside many others end up on our YouTube channel, which is available at youtube.com/WellingtonPPM. And whilst you're there, do subscribe and do ding the notifications bell. But guys, I hope you found this useful and I look forward to hearing from you in due course.